Well, I wasn't sure if I'd be back making Miami Dolphins content again or not, but I'm coming back alive like I'm John Locke, baby. And to be honest with all of you, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with the post-game reactions because it's fun. I don't know if I'm going to do it for the other two preseason games, but if you're still a listener and you come here for Dolphin videos, I'm still going to do post-game reactions for all the regular season games. And that'll be that. Unless something absolutely insane happens, I don't think I'm going to do any other Dolphin-related videos. Other sports videos, definitely. Other teams, possibly. But as far as just the Miami Dolphins, who are still my favorite team, still going to be rooting for them. It's just that, with two kids, focusing on hockey, full-time work, all these things that go on in your adult life, or in my adult life, it's, it gets to be a lot. So I mean to make videos sometimes, but I just don't have the time to sit down and actually make that video. Today is one of the days where I got time, and I'll make sure I have time after the Dolphin games, one way or another. I'll find a way to do the reactions. And then other than that, anything else I upload, gonna be pure passion from me, just whatever I want to do. And as far as my fandom, let's start with that. Where am I at with my fandom of the Miami Dolphins? I mean, shouldn't I be talking about this preseason game? Yes, but I'm going to ramble first, all right, where I'm at with my fandom of this team, all right? And then we'll talk about the preseason game that I watched that I had to fight falling asleep through for the whole fourth quarter. I mean, I was holding my fucking eyes wide open, but I made it happen through that Quinn Ewers disaster. But anyway, where I'm at right now with the Miami Dolphins is that in 2022, when my son was born, my first son, and Tyreek Hill had just got signed, I was so excited for that team, and that's when I really hunkered down and started making these videos consistently, and I enjoyed it. I was passionate about it. I had a lot of fun. I loved the Dolphins back then, and over the course of the years, as I started to focus on hockey and my family and all these other things, my love for the Dolphins is sort of distanced, right? We've distanced ourselves. Like, I still watch, I'm still curious, but to be honest, my optimism has run dry. I don't see this team doing anything great. I don't see them making the playoffs or really even coming close. Now, does that mean I'm going to be right? No. I'd love to be wrong. But that's just where I'm at with this team right now. Will I ever be a huge fan again? Probably not. I don't think there's any, even if they went on to miraculously win the Super Bowl, my main responsibilities and everything I got going on still going to be there. Although I would be happy to come on and fucking rip a cigar and have a glass of scotch after the Dolphins win a Super Bowl or even a playoff game. I'll do that for a playoff win, all right? But let's start off here. We're coming back down to earth, the preseason with the Miami Dolphins today. Let's talk about this game, and then we'll talk about, I'll give a little bit of a season preview, because I'm not going to make a season preview video anyway, so I guess this will be that. Let's start with this game, though. We'll come back to reality this moment by going back a couple days to when the Miami Dolphins had their joint practice with the Chicago Bears. And evidently, the Bears were being a little bit physical. They weren't being very nice. They said, listen, this is football. And they didn't feel like just tapping you. They didn't want to play two-hand touch. They were slamming guys to the ground. They hit Waddle. I mean, anytime Waddle gets hit, dude, he's good for a cracked rib or two. Don't you love having 5'10", 180-pound receivers? Anyway, so they weren't being very nice to the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins on the defensive side, I guess, had some internal fighting. They weren't very happy with themselves either. So it seemed like the Bears kind of, spit on our lunchbox, whatever that means. I don't think that means anything. I'm not editing. All right, I don't care enough. But anyway, the Bears ate our lunch, and that is what it is. Coming into this game, all right, how do the Dolphins respond to that? Because it seems like they didn't take it too well in that joint practice. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying that the Bears were being dirty, but I mean, do something about it. I mean, Jesus Christ. You let them push you, you get slammed, you get pushed around, you don't do anything about it. I mean, that's what rubs me the wrong way. But let's talk about the offense and how they responded. Obviously, Tua, QB1, he started today. So that was an interesting choice, certainly for Mike McDaniel. He played one series, and he only had a couple throws. You know, he didn't do anything crazy. He hit Malik Washington on that 4th down outside the numbers, and then again on 3rd down after that, just at the other side of the field. So both outside the numbers, just out routes, nothing crazy. And then on 3rd and short, he had a little slant pattern to Taj Washington, or however you pronounce it. So that got him a 1st down. And then they got down to the goal line, and they went run up the middle, didn't work. Run up the middle, didn't work. Run up the middle, didn't work. Run up the middle, get absolutely shut down. And then the Bears take over on downs. That was it for Tua. And a lot of people are shitting on Mike McDaniel for those play calls there. I don't think he would do that in the regular season. I think he just wanted to see if the offensive line would be able to push those guys back. And they couldn't. So that is what it is. And that was it for Tua. And I don't think Achane really played much after that. Or if he did, he might have played one series. But he looked good. No surprise. He reminds me of Reggie Bush a little bit. Anyone else see that? I see a little Reggie Bush in Devon Achane. I like him. And after that, offensively, we moved on to Zach Wilson. So that's how I cut this up. We got the Tua portion, the Zach Wilson portion, and the Quinn Ewers portion. So for the Zach Wilson portion of things, he had a good pass over the middle a couple times. He had one 30-some yard pass. But I mean, man, I'm not going to lie to you. His pocket presence was not great. He took some sacks. But he had a touchdown drive there. I believe he had 2 touchdown drives. And both ended up with touchdown runs, one with Madison and then one with Jalen Wright. So Zach Wilson, he was the better of the quarterbacks between him and Ewers today, obviously. And I was looking forward to seeing Ewers. So let's just talk about that, all right? Because we didn't really learn much about Zach Wilson. He had some good... Oh, he did have one towards the end of the half right to the defender. It should have been a pick six. But it wasn't. He got bailed out. Wasn't a pick six. But man, that wasn't a great pass. But it's just mediocre day from Zach Wilson. Which hopefully he doesn't play for us anyway. Because if he does, we're screwed. So what's it even matter? But I was optimistic for Quinn Ewers. And I didn't lose all that optimism. But, I lost a lot of that optimism, man. Quinn Ewers was fucking awful. And I know it's preseason game 1. He's playing with people that aren't ever going to see the field. I understand all that. All right, but if we just zoom in on Quinn Ewers himself, his first pass was a goddamn hospital ball. And then right after that, he had a couple incompletions. Then he got sacked and fumbled the ball, and then the Bears had it inside the 5. They punched it in. So, I mean, that was a tough start there for Quinn Ewers. I mean, damn. And then towards the end of the game, he gets a chance with the ball to possibly get down the field, lead us to victory. He got a nice little short pass to, I think it was Ollie Gordon, who he played well, but Ollie Gordon gets up the field, and then eventually it's 1st and 15, and 84, I don't remember who he is, but he's wide open. And Ewers misses him from behind and almost throws a pick. He just throws it behind him. So, like, an example like that, to me is like, that's Ewers. You can judge that, and I will judge that. That was a bad pass. And then they end up turning the ball over. Bears get it back off of a strip sack, so a second fumble of the game. Then the Bears don't do anything with it. Ewers gets one last chance with a few seconds left. Almost get a crazy lateral play going, but it falls just short, and that's how it ends for the offense. So we move over to the defensive side of things, which I thought was actually pretty successful for the most part. Coming right out of the gate where some starters were playing, they dominated. Absolutely dominated when the starters were out there. It wasn't even close. And then when the starters came off, the Bears got a decent drive. They scored a touchdown. But Patrick McMorris, he got an interception off a tip pass, so one for him. And then there was another play. It was Jones. I don't know his first name, but he gets an interception, which was called back on a bit of a soft penalty. But he jukes out the receiver, and then he stands there and looks at him for a second, like a Madden glitch. He's just frozen. And then he's like, oh shit, and starts running. So that would be a good gift to get if anyone. There were a couple missed opportunities on defense, but I think they played well. That's all you can really gather. Listen, the preseason, what it is it's an exhibition. It's like watching a practice. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm entertained by it for the first couple quarters. Usually the first 2 quarters, there's guys that you're actually going to see throughout the season. But then by the late third, fourth quarter, man, it gets sloppy out there and gets tough to watch a lot of the time. But that was that for the Miami Dolphins. They end up with a 24-24 tie. And that's that. Let's talk about the season ahead. Let's give a little season preview, all right? Because obviously there's a big thing going on where Tua hadn't thrown any interceptions to his own defense, who I believe probably doesn't run enough press coverage against guys like Tyreek and Waddle, because it does seem like when you get your hands on those guys, man, they freeze up a little bit. So I'm a little bit worried about how this offense is going to come out looking, but, we'll see. But you know what I've been pondering a bit? What would be a successful season for the Miami Dolphins? Because I think a lot of people, including myself, a lot of fans, were writing them off. And I think most of us have. At least that's the consensus I could gather from reading on the internet. We've been sold a bill of goods 3 years straight now with McDaniel, Tyreek Hill. And each time we've got folded like a lawn chair at the end. Especially when an actual good team arrives. I went to that game. What was it? The year before last year, where they beat Denver 70-20. Oh, such a great game. And then the next week they had to play the Bills. It was so hyped up. It was going to be one of the best games. And the Bills fucking drummed the Dolphins. It was like 48-20 or something. It was crazy. And then it was last year, actually. They start off the season with slipping a ugly win out against Jacksonville, but it's week 1, And then the next week you're playing the Bills. And was it Sunday night or Thursday night football? I don't remember. But then they get thumped again. Tua gets concussed. It all falls apart. The season was over last year at week 2. It really was. So I'm not expecting this year to be any different, but honestly, that doesn't mean that this can't be a successful season. Because are the Miami Dolphins going to win the Super Bowl this year? No. I'd be willing to bet my kidneys that they won't even come close. But let's say they do find a way to sneak into the playoffs and even maybe win a playoff game. That would be a success. But with the glaring holes on this roster, I don't think that that's going to happen. The cornerback position, that defense, how are they going to figure that out? We'll see, I guess. But I think a way that this team could have a successful season is for them to fucking show Tua is the guy that could lead this team. It all comes down to our quarterback, right? If the Dolphins don't make the playoffs, but Tua has a great season and comes back to form and stays healthy, I would consider that a win. Because then at the end of the year, you could get rid of Tyreek Hill, you could get rid of McDaniels if you got to, you could offload these fucking disaster contracts you've signed and reload on the defense and get a bigger receiver or two and then start again. Now, that's what a smart franchise would do, in my opinion, but I'm not going to hold them to that. But in my opinion, that would lead to a successful season for the Miami Dolphins. And I guess that we're coming out with some black jerseys, or at least dark blue jerseys this season. Late August. I mean, that could be pretty fire. So, if they are fire, I might have to cop one. The question is, what player? I don't know what player I'd get. I mean, I already got like 3 Tua jerseys. I'm not going to get another Tua jersey because it's like if he gets hurt again, he's not even going to be our quarterback that next year. But then I think Tyreek Hill might be a good one because he's going to be a Hall of Famer. So everyone would remember, Tyreek Hill played for the Dolphins. But then again, like, what if it all ends in disaster? Do I really want a Tyreek Hill jersey to remind me of that? Not that I even wear the fucking things, but Devon Achane, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what player I'd get, but that's just what it is, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm going to sign out.